So today we're going to be talking about Dropbox, which is an app that, remember last time we were talking about the cloud and cloud storage. Just to review, the cloud is basically just another name for the internet. And we talk about cloud storage. What we're talking about is saving something to a secure place on the internet. So it's usually through an app or another website that sort of holds on to your content with a password. And what that means is that, first of all, it frees up space on whatever device you're using, whether it's a computer or a tablet or a phone. So you're saving it sort of out there in somebody else's storage as opposed to on your device. So it helps to keep your device from slowing down. The other big benefit to this is that you can access your files that you've saved to the cloud from any device. So you can log onto a computer and access these files, or you can use somebody else's cell phone and log into the app and access a file. And also, one of the things we'll see with Dropbox today is it makes it easy to share files between people, especially if those files are kind of big. So things you might otherwise email, but email gets a little difficult to use because the file size is so big. So we'll talk a little bit about that today. So last time we talked about Google Photos as a way to sort of offload some of the big photo file or mini photo files, which can add up. The way to move those from the data in your phone to a cloud storage device like Google Photos, and thus free up some space on your phone. So Dropbox is going to work sort of on a similar principle, but there's a couple other things that it can do as well. And as with any app, you're going to start out in the Play Store or in your App Store if you're on an iPhone. Dropbox is compatible with either Android or iPhone, so it's open to either. So what you're going to do is just look for Dropbox, and you'll see it pops up on mine. It's all one word, and the icon for it looks like a little box, like an open box. And it's going to say Dropbox. I think it says something like cloud photo storage or something like that. Again, there's a lot of things that Dropbox does. It's not just photo storage, but that's what it says. I think that's the part of it that they're really advertising, at least, in the Play Store right now. So that's the right one. So if you see that icon that looks like a box, that's what you want to be downloading. And just a disclaimer before we get started too, Dropbox is one of those, you'll see it says in-app purchases. And what that means is there is a free version of Dropbox with a certain amount of storage in it. And we'll talk about that a little bit. You can purchase more storage, and there's also other ways to get storage that don't involve purchasing it, which we'll also look at. But just so you know, the base, which is 2 gigabytes of storage, which isn't huge, but it's a good amount, is free. So you can use this without paying anything up to 2 gigabytes. Okay. So when you see this on yours, it's going to say download or install. We're just going to say open because I've already done it. And I actually use Dropbox a lot, both for Smart and for my personal files and folders. For these purposes, so you don't have to look at all my files. We've used, remember that podcast email we made a long time ago? So this is a Dropbox account that's linked to that email account. All right. If you click on that, you'll see the Tech Talk Test 405 email here. So that's the email that we use that I use when we're doing things for Tech. Okay, so this is there's nothing in here yet. I just want to show you how it looks when you first open it up. Okay. So what you'll see, we're going to go to home just so we see what that looks like. And it tries to sort of walk you through what you might want to do with Dropbox. So like it said, you can upload your photos on here just like you would on Google Photos. It's just an alternative to that. If you're doing it on Google Photos, you don't necessarily need to do it on here. You're double backing up if you do that. But if you want to use Dropbox, let me just show you how you would do that. So you look at the bottom where it says photos. And again, this process is going to be really similar to the one that we talked about last time with Google Photos. All right, so you can either turn on your camera uploads, which would just upload all of your pictures that you currently have, and the ones you take in the future. It will back them up in Dropbox, okay? I'm not going to do that right now, partially because I have them backed up already, but also because I know I actually have more photos on here than 2 gigabytes worth. So that's one of the reasons why Google Photos is going to work better for me. If you don't have as many photos, or if you just want to like choose some photos to back up here, that's one way to go. Okay, so I could go in and say choose photos to upload, and then just, click a couple. These are all ones that are actually just screenshots of the stuff that we're doing today. So let's say, okay, I just want those 6 photos backed up. I'm going to hit upload. And you see they all are going to pop up in that file, in files. So you see files is highlighted on the bottom. Highlighted, I should say. All right. And then if we want to put these all in a folder, so you see we've got these 6 files in here that are all photos. And we're going to highlight. So I just, oops, sorry. I just clicked on that. We're going to highlight all of them. I just want all of these. So we're going to add a folder that just says photos. Create. So if you go into photos, you can make a folder that goes with it, but if you're uploading folders, all of them will end up in this photos tab. So those are the 6 photos that I initially put in here. So anything that you upload to here will end up in your photos. So yeah, it does sound like your Google account. This is very similar to Google Photos, like we were talking about before. So that's basic. I want to show you some of the other things that this can do that Google Photos cannot. All right. And again, it's going to walk you through some things. So one of the things you can do is you can actually add files that are not picture files as well. You can add document files. You can access this on your computer or your tablet as well and add files from there. So one of the things that I do with my personal account and my Smart account is I have it linked to both my computer and my phone. And what I can do then is that if I, say type up a document on my computer, I'll save it into my Dropbox and then I can access it from my phone as well. So it makes it so you can put all your folders from whatever device, all your files from whatever device in folders on your Dropbox and access it from any of those devices. So it's really helpful, especially like if I'm in the office and all I have is my phone, I can actually print a document I've made at home from Dropbox because I've saved it to Dropbox. This is the sort of basic options it gives you. Create or upload a file. Okay, so let's say we wanted to create a file in Word on either our computer or on Dropbox. Right, we're going to call it. And what we would do is go into Word, type our document, and then we can save it in there and access it from anywhere. If we go to the files on our phone, so if we get out of this and we go to our own files, like on Samsung, so it says my files, what I can do then is I can go to, say, my documents. All right, so I've got these PDF documents. These are just various things. I'm going to click on this, and what you can do is go to share. And one of the options that it'll give you is Dropbox. All right, so you'll say Dropbox and add it to there. So anything you want to back up like that, you can do it from the file itself and say add it to Dropbox. So if there's anything on your phone, if you have, let's say, in addition to pictures, if you have things that you've scanned, things that you have PDFs of that you downloaded, like important documents, this is a good place to save them. So let's go back to our Dropbox again. I'm going to show you a couple more things. Okay, so we're going to say add again. So you did upload photos or videos, create or upload a file. And again, I think it's easier to do it from the file itself like we just did, unless you're creating a new file in something like Microsoft Word. These are a couple of really helpful things to me. I use this a lot, and you can actually scan a document from your phone and it'll go straight into Dropbox. So let's say that you need a scanned copy of your vaccination card or a scanned copy of any of your important documents. This is a really good way to do it. And the scan is going to be different than taking a photo. It's actually going to pick up all the text in the way that you need it to. So it's like putting something in a scanner. So you say scan document, and you take your document will be right here. It'll actually start up on its own to scan it. Let me just get something out to scan. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna scan my laundry card for you. All right. All right, so you should see it now. So I've got my scan in there. I'll press this over arrow. That wasn't great, so my lighting's not great, but if it was, it would be much better. I'm gonna hit this check mark. And what that's gonna do is save that scan to my Dropbox. Okay, so you see it's saved here in the Dropbox. And then one last thing I want to show you on Dropbox, and we can talk about this more because there's actually a lot you can do in here, is when you go to files and let's see, you go to you can make a shared folder, and that's really cool. So that is something that we actually talked a little bit about on Google Folders Google Photos last time. So let's say, you know, I'm making a new folder. All right, and I'm gonna call it work stuff. Get real more thing. All right. And what I can do with that folder, so just to show you, I clicked on those 3 dots below the folder. And what I can do is share it with someone. Okay, so let's say I want to share it with, I'm going to say allow so I can share it with my contacts. And I'm going to share it with my smart email address. So there we go. I'm going to share it with my other email address, but I could share it with anybody. I could share it with a friend. I could share it with a colleague, family member. So I'm going to go ahead and hit share on that. And what that means is when I put anything in there, that person can access it. And when they put anything in there, I can access it. So if we, let's say, like, you know, there's a family member and we're trying to put all their documents together because we might, you know, need to have them in case of an emergency. I might have their birth certificate. Someone else might have their doctor's information. Somebody else might have their social security number. We can all put that stuff in there and we can all access that together. So what you want to do if you're using those shared folders is only share information in that folder that you want to share with the person you've invited to share it. And use it too in cases where you want to be able to access that information. And one of the things that's helpful about this, and we talked about this a little bit with Google Photos too, is if you have like a large file, if you have a video file, if you just have, you know, something that is difficult to send by email without it getting compressed, or, you know, just it hits the limit of your email storage in order to send it. This is a really good place to put it, all right? Because then you can just send a link to somebody and they can access it directly. And then if they want to make edits on the file itself, those edits will show up on your end too. So if you're collaborating with somebody, this is a great tool to use. And again, like I said, you know, this is free up to 2 gigabytes. You'll remember when I did my photos last time, I think we got up to like, I had a lot of photos. So we got up to like 10 gigabytes. That was a lot. So, you know, you have to be sort of selective about what you save on there if you're not going to pay for it. But if you know, if there are certain things that make sense to have on there, just be sort of, you know, conservative about what it is. There's sneaky ways to get more space without paying for it. If you can actually invite friends to Dropbox as well. And if you invite a friend to use Dropbox, which, you know, you might want to do just so you can have a shared folder with them, they can use the free version of Dropbox. But if they start using it, you'll get another half of a gigabyte of free storage for each person that signs up to use it. So that means, you know, you have 2 gigabytes to start with. If you get 2 more people, you have 3 gigabytes. So that's just like a way for them to promote Dropbox and a way for you to get a little bit of extra storage if that's something you want to do. So I'll go in here and say, it's just dropbox.com. You'll say sign in. All right, so I'll go in and sign in here. And once I do that, let me just go ahead and do it. And see, once we do that, we have access to all of these that we just saved in here, right? Okay, so we have access to that MP3 file. We have access to the screenshots. All right. So that's how it works. So any device that you can get on the internet, you can go to dropbox.com, log in, and that will access your files. Oh, also on your computer, if you have a computer, or this is going to work more with a computer, like a laptop or something, you can actually download Dropbox onto your computer so you don't have to log in every time. And the way you do that is, so it's going to say install Dropbox app. And then you're going to say download Dropbox. And what that does is it just makes it, I actually have my, you can't see it on here, but I have Dropbox already saved on this computer. And you can go into open Dropbox from there. And what you'll get, but on a Mac at least, and I think there's a similar thing that happens on a PC, is up on the top bar of your screen, you'll see that little Dropbox app. And what that means is you can just click on that Dropbox app and access those files at any time, as opposed to having to go to the internet every single time to get it. The other place you can find is like if you go to, wherever apps or programs are saved on your computer, you'll see that little Dropbox icon. And if you open that up, you'll be able to access your files directly if you're connected to the internet. Again, remember, this is cloud storage, so you have to be connected to the internet to access it.